You're listening to Beyond Boss Fights, gaming conversations with interesting people. Hello everybody, and welcome to Beyond Boss Fights, Episode 3. I'm your host, Braxwolf. It's good to have you here. I'm really excited about this episode for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's the topic hits kind of close to home. It's about gaming life balance. It was actually a topic that was suggested by a listener, and I thought it was such a good idea, I went with it right away. The second reason I'm really excited about this episode is because my guests are fairly well known to a lot of people within the Lotro community, and actually are kind of the inspiration behind the reason I'm podcasting today. And I tried not to creepily fawn over them as we were having our conversation, but the truth of the matter is, you probably wouldn't be listening to me today if I had never discovered Casual Stroll to Mordor, which was the blog and podcast labor of love of my two guests. Yes, I have with me Merric and Goldenstar, and we have a fantastic conversation in store for you. For those of you who are familiar with them, we go over what they've been doing ever since the podcast shut down and the blog changed focus. For those of you who are not familiar with them, I think it'll just be fun to listen to them describe what they're into now, how they integrate gaming into their everyday lives still, even though it's not a central focus of what they do every hour that they have free. Since I was a Casual Stroll to Mordor listener for several years, there was somewhat of an interesting dynamic when the conversation started, in that I felt like I knew a lot about Merric and Goldenstar, and I'm sure they felt like they knew next to nothing about me. Despite that, they were every bit as kind and generous in person as the impression that you got over the years listening to them on the CSTM podcast. So I'm really excited to release this episode, you guys. I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed recording it. Okay, so for today's episode, I have a couple of very special guests, and if you've played Lord of the Rings Online at any point within the last several years, you're probably already familiar with them. They founded a little Lotro fan site called Casual Stroll to Mordor, which quickly became the de facto site for Lotro news, guides, and community. In 2013, in order to spend more time on family-related activities, the CSTM podcast was shuttered, and the site rebranded to Casually Strolling Through MMOs, which encompasses a broader range of gaming topics. Of course, I'm talking about Goldenstar and Merric. Thank you guys for being with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I thought about you guys because the topic of today's podcast, as we'll get into a little bit later, is gaming life balance. And I was just this was actually a listener suggested topic. And I thought that's kind of a close to home subject for me. But I don't know who I could have as a guest, because a lot of the people that I'm playing with now are a little bit younger and don't really have this same issue that I do. And I thought, well, there are a few people that I know that have this same issue. I just don't know if they'd be willing to come on, but you were very gracious with your time and I appreciate it. So, as we have done in the past couple episodes, I've asked my guests to do a definitive gaming history. And what that is we talk about how you got into video gaming in the first place, and where you are now with your gaming hobby. So you guys can decide who wants to go first on your definitive gaming history, so that the listeners can kind of understand where you've come from.
You can go first, Evan.
Oh, gosh. Let's see. Well, I started playing video games probably, I think the biggest thing was, so when I was young, I burned my arm, the underside of my arm pretty badly. And I eventually had to get a skin graft. And while I was in the hospital, in the children's ward, they had arcade games. They had like Dig Dug, and there was a kangaroo boxing game. I can't remember. It was probably called something like Kangaroo or something like that. But it was probably actually called like Kangaroo Boxing. But anyways, after that, my parents actually bought a Commodore 64, and they got like Lode Runner and Donkey Kong and Dig Dug and other things. And then it just kind of took off from there with Ultima. My older brother, he got Ultima 3. I still have the box, which is awesome. And the discs, which are no good to me, but I still have them. Yay! They probably don't have anything on them anymore.
They're not like CD, they're like floppies or something.
Yeah, they're floppies. Yeah. And then it grew from there, like the original Bard's Tale, and moving on to Doom and Quake and all that good stuff, and Diablo. I think the first one I was really super addicted to was probably Warcraft 2, and then Diablo, and then it's just gone on from there. And then MMOs, once they came out with Ultima Online, I signed up for Ultima Online. Like, I have the beta CD. I paid $2 to get it signed, to get it shipped to me to be in the beta. Woo! And it was pretty good. And then it just took off from there to everything. I mean, I've played The Realm and other stuff. I'm not as extensive as some of the gamers, I think, these days. These days, I've kind of retired from MMOs. Last one I played heavily was probably Rift, but now I actually just went through Fear, because, I'm hanging out like it's 2006 when it was first released. But hey, it's been fixed. All the bugs are fixed and everything, so it's pretty good to me. And I'm actually going through one of the expansions right now. And I plan to go through all the BioShocks and stuff like that. So my current gaming is to go through all the old classic or all these good games that I haven't played over the past like 10 years, and just enjoy them and get them while they're on sale on Steam. So that's what I'm doing now. Although I think somebody sent me an email about Shadow of the Avatar, which is back to Richard Garriott, and I always want to call him Blackthorn because I can never remember Starlong's name. But they're doing a new game, and they're kind of fun. They're crowd raising the money, and it's interesting to me. I'd like to see what they can do. And so really, it's not Shadow of the Avatar. I can't remember what it's called. But it's a continuation of Ultima series.
Okay.
So I'm interested to see what they'll do with that, because it gets the old gamer in me like happy, and I'd like to think that they are successful, since they had the Ultima series ripped away from them by EA. So
yeah,
that's what EA does.
So you started way back on the Commodore 64. I started on the Atari 2600. So.
Oh yeah, I played that too. We had that too.
About the same type of deal. And I know some of my friends had a Commodore 64, and some of them even had the old audio tape loader, where you had to sit there for 20 minutes while the game loaded because it was playing an audio tape into the port of the 64.
Wow. No, it's been a long time since. I play, we also had like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and 2600, but I don't know. Oh, Shroud of the Avatar, that's what I meant. But I don't know. I just somewhere around, I don't know. The Xbox just, I had one. I had a PS2, and it just never did it for me. Even now, console games they don't really strike up as much as computer games. I guess I'm an old man that way.
Right. I like them for certain things. I used to play them for the sports games, and that was about it.
Yeah, they're really excellent at sports games.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
They were good for that. Goldenstar?
I don't know what the name of my first thing is. It was some sort of TI computer. I can tell you that much.
A TI-80?
I don't know what the number was.
That's pretty awesome if it was.
I played Hunt the Wumpus on it, and some sort of math game that I really liked because I like numbers, I guess. And then we had an Atari because I remember playing like Space Invaders and stuff like that. But I like the big gaming stuff. Oh, well, okay. And then like somewhere in the middle, we had Carmen Sandiego.
All right, yeah.
Like my dad's work PC. I had to wait for him to not be home and go insert the floppy so I could play Carmen Sandiego on his computer.
Yeah, that was awesome. We did that as a family. We get the Alice out. Yeah.
Those were great educational games. Those were awesome.
I know. I kind of wish that, maybe they're on the Good Old Gaming, or that would be great to pull out for our daughter.
Yeah.
You learn so much about geography and stuff just playing that game.
Yep.
But we played Super Mario like crazy. Like, I was part of one of those kids that was like crazy about the Super Mario Brothers, and we had a regular Nintendo, and then we had the Super Nintendo. I think the only one we never got was like the N64 or whatever the thing that was.
Yeah.
But we had them all, and we played mostly Mario. We loved Mario. We had all the other ones. We had the Donkey Kongs and the whatever, but we loved Mario. And I remember like in school, like there was like a group of kids that loved playing Mario games. In fact, I still am friends with them. So, and then like the one kid was like the spoiled kid that got the Nintendo Power magazines. And so he was all our best friends, so we can get the secrets.
Yeah, Nintendo Power is pretty awesome.
Right. I didn't start playing back to computer games because I was like pure console through that whole, I guess, the 80s era. But my brother started playing EverQuest, my baby brother, and he got me into EverQuest. So EverQuest was my first MMO, and then I've played everything in between. Met Merric in Dark Age of Camelot, and so played. What else have we played? Star Wars Galaxies. Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy.
All kinds of stuff. We played all kinds of stuff.
So you glossed
We've dipped
over
our toes in a lot.
You glossed over a little bit, and I think most of the listeners who are familiar with you know this, but you actually met playing a game and subsequently got married at a later point in time, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, we took it slow. Like we met in Dark Age of Camelot, but we didn't get married until World of Warcraft.
That's your timeline?
I think that's our timeline.
I think that's about right.
So, Warcraft, we played Lotro, obviously. Latest one is I played Rift. I'm pretty interested, if you're looking at future for me, Elder Scrolls, because I love the Elder Scrolls game, but I don't know when I'm going to find time to do this, because I don't really have a whole lot of time, but I've not completely given up on games. I still have my dumb group on Mondays nights that I play Lord of the Rings online with, and every Monday my static group of 6 meet up in Lotro, and I play some computer games. Like Merric, I'm finding the joys of Steam and like all these things that I've bought through Humble Bundles and whatever, and then said, well, that's cool, I'll totally throw $5 at that. Mm-hmm. And now I have a whole library of stuff that I have not touched.
Yeah, right.
So I'm picking and choosing my way through that, which is fun. I still like playing games on my mobile, and like we're playing this balloon pop game, both of us, pretty heavily on our iPads.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's called Bloons, right?
Yeah, Bloons HD TD5, because it needed a really complex name.
It's got monkeys and balloons. If you find the game with monkeys and balloons, you're playing the same game as us.
That's a lot of fun.
Yes, it is. And then, my DS, which I haven't played a lot, but I played like right after Christmas. I was like glued to that thing because I got the new Zelda game on the DS, which was amazing, by the way.
So something just occurred to me. Is this the first podcast you guys have done together since CSTM wrapped up?
Together, yes.
Yeah.
I did I guest hosted Lotro Reporter, like last month, I think.
So this is kind of like a CSTM reunion right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're doing a reunion.
Okay. So something that I obviously don't do for most people, but I wanted to give you the opportunity because there might be folks out there who are interested in what you've been doing. Because on June 14th of 2013, you posted the post CSTM to end with episode 200, and I remember very well seeing this come through on my RSS feedly, and clicking on this and going, this has got to be, is it April 1st? What's going on here? But it was this was an announcement that garnered over 230 laments and well wishes from people who enjoyed your blog and podcast. So would you like to, at this point, let the CSTM faithful know what you've been up to in the last 8 months?
Gosh. We'll see. I got a new job. Still
Me
with
too.
still with the state, but of Michigan. But I more application based. It was a step up, and looking at another step up within the same organization. The state's kind of funny. Everybody's broken up into different departments, and it's easier to get promoted by jumping around a lot. And this was my 5 years there, and I got a step up, so that was good. Been playing some single player games. Really like the Banner Saga. Bought it because it looked like my kind of game, and it was. And then when Candy Crush was being a huge
stupid
jerk, I decided to take the plunge and actually buy their deluxe version with the soundtrack. It's a really good game. I really suggest it if you like strategy and kind of an epic storyline. And let's see, what else? I'm still doing the fitness thing.
He
Not
looks
so
amazing.
much.
He's doing
Oh,
fantastic.
thanks. That's really.
Awesome.
I'm getting more educated. I'm in another competition.
That's called exercising your brain.
Yes. And actually, been kind of playing around with Java, maybe learning how to go into Android development, and that's just kind of a side pet project that I've kind of been toying with for years. But
I was gonna say he's probably said that on the podcast.
yeah, I probably have, but I've actually been writing code off and on when I have spare time at work, which is not often. So it'll be like 10 years when I finally can compile something. Yeah, nobody's going to be using Android anymore. They'll be on to something else.
You'll be like, I got it.
Everybody's going to be on Windows Phone. I'll be like,
well,
missed the boat. Missed the boat. Yeah, I know. That's not going to happen. And then, I don't know, just hanging out upstairs with the family and doing what we can. It seems like our days are just filled.
It does. It feels like I don't really know what to tell you other than, I haven't given up on gaming. Like I said, I do play here and there. It's just, I almost just rather go to bed. It's like I could stay up. I could play, a chapter of this or that. Or I could get some extra sleep.
Yeah.
We've been like doing a lot of the TV stuff. Like we got like the Chromecast and we've got the Roku. It's been really like we have a pretty awesome entertainment center now that we can like put stuff to. Like Baby Hobbit had a little friend over last week, and I put like the game she was playing on the iPad onto the TV, and her friend was just blown away. She was like, "How did you do that?"
No, it was.
She was
magic.
she was pretty impressed with our geekiness, so it was worth it. But I have always been a big reader. I'm still reading a ton of books. I am trying to lose weight, but I am not successful.
Oh, you're doing good.
Whatever. I like cookies. So I cannot pass a cookie. I did get a new job as well, although I think I got mine like right after we quit. Right? It was like last year.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? So, and it's pretty time consuming. Like, I used to have like lunchtime at work, and I don't really have lunchtime at work anymore. I'd be like, it's lunch hour. I can check my, Twitter feed. No, not so much. So I feel more disconnected than ever. I'm like checking feeds and stuff on the commute into work. It feels like it's the only time. But yes, I was playing Rift pretty good. I do like the game Rift. I just don't have the time to commit to like, what I should do is just make another low B character that I don't care about, because right now where she is, she's like 53 or something. It takes so much effort to get a level that I just feel discouraged. So I kind of faded away. Although I love all the pretty stuff in that game, and I could buy everything in there. If I could, I would.
And when you can only get in the game a few nights a week, that takes even longer, it seems, right? I mean,
right.
That's the advantage of single-player games. We found is that you can go through at your own pace, and there's no real pressure to level. other than you're going to get to the end of the game and that's it. There's no like dungeons to run over and over
and you
again.
don't have to be pressured in MMOs. I mean, I could just log in and fart around at the barber for an hour. I could easily do that. But
or like when things got tough in Fear, I could lower the difficulty and blaze through it, then raise it back up. You can't do that in MMOs.
You can't do that in MMOs.
We kind of frown on people who do that. So.
Yeah. So yeah. And I'm crocheting now, which I've been posting pictures of any geeky things that I've made so far. So
Yep.
I'm making a new geeky thing right now, but it's for my sister's birthday. So
The scarf was amazing. And that was
The scarf is awesome.
That was a great pick too, by the way.
It's long, but it's incredibly useful when you are walking in the wind.
It's gotta be cumbersome. It's 19.
It's really not.
It's a 19
like
foot
armor.
long Doctor Who scarf. It's enormous.
It's like armor. So you drape it around yourself, and then the wind can't touch your upper torso. Your legs are freezing, but your chest is warm. So.
I'm sure that with the winter that we've had in the U.S. this year, it's come in pretty handy.
It has.
Yeah, I used to think it was cold down here when we were podcasting last winter. Right now, I am freezing to death. I feel like my toes are going to fall off.
Well, you guys have touched on a little bit our main topic already and just some of your explanations of what you've been doing. Usually what happens at this point is that I will pick out a section of a blog post that I've seen throughout the last month, and this one today that relates to our topic actually comes from a friend of mine from Twitter, DJ Pimp Daddy, who is a podcaster for Late Night Steamer.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
His podcast.
He's a good guy.
DJ Pimp Daddy.
Yep, and he actually unplugged from the internet for 2 weeks, and this was part of his blog post a couple of weeks ago that was explaining this, and he says so this is why I'm unplugging for 2 weeks. No Gmail, no Twitter, no Steam, no podcasting, no Netflix, definitely no Minecraft, no music, no TV, no iPad, and then he goes on to say I will spend my nights with the boys playing Legos or getting out to visit. It's winter, so going outside to play is rather comical, but perhaps we can go see some family. And before he actually got to this part of the post, he actually went through his day for us to kind of show how much he was online during the day, not only at work, but from the moment he woke up, almost from the moment he went to bed and went to sleep at night. His mind was always preoccupied with something that was going on the internet. And I think it can become like that. And either you have to do what he did and completely detox, or you have to kind of take a step back and do more what you guys did, which was kind of back off a little bit, but maintain more of a balance. So just out of curiosity, going back to when you decided to scale back CSTM, was there one final straw that kind of caused you to decide that the gaming community involvement was taking up too much time, or was it just a culmination of a lot of little things?
I think that it built up over time. Like, it was just getting to the point where, Merric wasn't even playing a whole lot at all, and I was kind of just playing out of, like, I need to go check out the stuff for the podcast. Like, I wasn't playing for me anymore, I was like, oh, I gotta go log in and see what this thing is so I can write about it. Like, I wasn't playing for me anymore. We didn't feel like we had any time. We used to play together all the time. We wasn't playing together any longer. And I think it just was accumulation of, like, and then we had like at the Helm's Deep dry spell where there was no Lotro news, and we weren't playing because we didn't have time to play. And it was like, this is just becoming so much of a chore when it used to just be easy because we were playing super actively and we're doing everything and we were into everything. And it was just, when we got to the podcast part, it was just chatting. And it got to the point where, like, did you find anything to talk about this week? God, me neither. Yeah.
When it just doesn't become fun anymore, that's when you really got to take a look and analyze why it's not something that you enjoy. I think Goldenstar was under a lot of pressure to make sure that everything was updated, and that everything was going well, and that something interesting was posted at least once a day or once every other day. And when that's your sole duty, it becomes really intensive. And then when I stopped playing as much, and I wasn't really engaged with the content anymore. That put even more stress on her. And then eventually it just, became a point of contention of what are we going to do with this? Do we want to continue? Are we motivated to continue?
Are we even providing anything good?
And is it is it something that's adding to our life, and or is it just at this point, is it taking away? And it wasn't that we didn't enjoy it, and we still talk right now about like maybe doing something on a monthly basis, or streaming or something like that. And we'd like to. It's just that our time seems very valuable at this point with a toddler, and with what limited time we have on our own for ourselves. Mm-hmm. When we're not working, and when we're, we've got an hour commute each way, and then we literally come home, we cook dinner, we eat, and then
we have like a half an hour.
We have an hour to spend, doing whatever we want, including playing with our kid and putting her down to bed. And then it's bedtime, because I get up at 3.
Yeah, he gets up way too early. I was going to say that it was like we didn't really change any of that stuff, because we never did any of the gaming or anything while Baby Hobbit was awake. We were always, engaged with her or doing something with her. It was only like when she went to sleep. But with Merric going to the gym at dark 30, he would go to bed pretty much at the same time as Baby Hobbit, which at first I thought was awesome, because I was all like, everybody's asleep, it's my time, right. I get to do whatever I want. And then after a while I was just kind of like, I guess I want to go to bed too.
Yeah, she's like, I want to go to bed. Yeah, she gets up at 5:30, and then we start everything all over again. So it just became a matter of, okay, yeah, it's fun, and we enjoy it, and we enjoy the community, but gosh, we really want that hour and a half of our Saturday nights back.
That was just the Saturday nights. I was full-time all week long trying to make content for the blog, which was, and the thing that kept us hanging on for so long was because of the community. We loved the community. We loved meeting with them and chatting with them live. We loved their comments. We loved any kind of interaction we got. We thought that was fantastic. So the reason that we hung on, we were like, well, then we can just do this, and we can talk about, so-and-so, or, so we kind of turned it and tried to talk about the community for a while, even just to hang on. Then, it was a hard decision for us to cut it off, but we thought it had to be the best, even if it meant, kind of disappearing from the parts that we did like.
I think your affinity for the community really showed through in that last episode that lasted as long as people were still calling in. It was an amazing thing to witness. Because we did a 3-hour Helm's Deep review for Lotro Players News, and I was completely wiped out by the end of that. I just can't imagine going longer than that on taking calls.
Well, we figured by that point.
At the end too.
Yeah, we figured by that point, if everybody had hung on,
yeah, we'd be like, well, thanks for waiting 3 hours, but we're not going to talk to you now.
I still know that there was one person that either fell asleep or something that we
didn't
get to talk to, and I felt so bad for it. But yeah, I think to summarize is that when you notice that it's becoming a drain on your life, I mean, you as a podcaster, you know that it takes effort. There is time involved, and when it becomes something that's not fun and that it just is a drain, I mean, I can't think of how many family get-togethers we left early so we could get home and come back and do the podcast. And that, I'm not trying to say that,
Well, and that wasn't a big deal when Baby Hobbit was little.
Yeah, but
when she was a baby, we're like, we got to take her home and put her to bed.
But when she doesn't want to go and we have to explain it to everybody, we have to cut it short because we've got a podcast to do. It's okay now and then, but during the summer, we're just like, everybody, especially when it's we have a cold winter, everybody's like, let's have a party together every Saturday night while we can. And then we're like, yeah, we gotta go.
Well, we started the podcast when Baby Hobbit was 4 months old. So, like, when she was that little, it was no big deal. We're like, no, I have to be home by 8 o'clock so that Baby Hobbit gets a full night's rest before blah, blah, blah. I was very, like, schedule-oriented. But now that she's a little older, you know, I didn't mind if she stayed up a little bit later because she could sleep in the morning and I didn't have to get her up for midnight feedings anymore.
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting because I also had the rule for a long time, and still for the most part do, that I don't start a game up until after my kids are in bed. It's changed a little bit though now that some of them are older, because there's days
they don't want anything to do with you.
There's Saturdays when I'll be walking around going, wait a minute, I'm the only one not playing a video game here. What am I?
Right.
What am I waiting on? So, but it gets difficult in other ways because now we have activity scheduling for the kids that goes on that makes it more difficult to get in game and do stuff because. Exactly. You know, it's tonight. I mean, I was a little bit late for the call tonight because we had all 4 of our kids in swim lessons, and one of them was at a different time than the other 3, and I was waiting for my wife to get home so that the little guy wasn't on his own. So, you know, it's just that kind of thing that makes any kind of steady schedule very difficult.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, that's something that is going to be, you know, coming up in the near future. She's going to have interests and stuff like that, and that's cool. I enjoy seeing what she's going to see, but you know, or seeing what she's going to do, and it's going to get busier, but that's okay. We have fun, and you know, who knows what the future will hold if we ever want to get back into it. I still think, man, we got all this hardware down here. We really need to make use of it. But
now, Merric, I know I can remember when you started talking about living a healthier lifestyle, and I. At the point, I started wondering, how is he going to find time to do all the stuff he's doing? Because I know what it takes to I was an athlete in high school, and I know what it takes to keep yourself in good physical condition. It takes a lot of time, for one thing. Could you talk about how living healthier factors into the lifestyle balance issues?
I got this. So, what you want to do is find the perfect kind of pie. I'm just joking.
Oh, pie would be good, actually.
Can we have a pie diet?
Do you know that, actually, funny story, I think it was Frank Columbo and Arnold Schwarzenegger every once in a while after, they work out all day, that they'd go eat, like, a whole pie each because they had been able to work out, and they were able to do it, too. They'd pull it off. They'd never smooth out or whatever, but it was just kind of they would be so carb depleted. They were like, we just want a pie, and so they'd go and they'd each go get a pie and eat it.
I could do that too, but without the cardio part.
Right. So, oh well, that was actually one of the first killers of playing games, especially late at night, is because at first I worked out at night, and then that didn't work out because I would be gone and everybody would be asleep by the time I got home, and
Baby Hobbit was playing games with her doll, saying, "Where's Daddy? Daddy's at the gym."
That
did not true story.
Yeah, that didn't fly with the family.
That's a red flag right there. Yeah,
they didn't like that. So now I get up early in the morning, and Goldenstar was kind of like, "You're never gonna do that." And I'm like,
I didn't think he would, because he's tried to do stuff like that in the past, and this is the man that I would get up at 5:30, and I would try to get him up at 6, and I could not do it.
I'd pull the blanket over my head.
I still do that.
And I was just like, there's no way you're getting up this early consistently. I totally had my doubts.
So now I get up at 3:30, I think is when my alarm is set to go off, and I get up, and I get up probably 99% of the time.
Yeah, he's really consistent.
There's 1% where I'm like, you know what, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, we all have those days.
So but the thing is that when you do that, you go to bed like at 8 o'clock. And your wife is like, woo, time alone. But then that involves...
you can only watch so much on Netflix where you're just like, yeah, I'm bored.
Yeah, go to bed. But, so that's really taken up a lot of my time. And then a lot of my podcast or blog reading switched over to healthier stuff, and a lot of my podcast listening switched over to health related stuff. And a lot of my books actually switched over to health related stuff because there's always learning something different or different, listening to people's different takes or extremeness or cuckoo pants, whatever thing they're doing. I've heard so many crazy stuff that people do to take care of themselves that I'm just like, you are a wacko. But, there's just
Like butter coffee?
like, oh yeah, like bulletproof coffee where they put a tablespoon of butter in their coffee, or
That just sounds gross.
people who swear that taking clay supplements
Clay?
of actual clay.
They're like eating mud.
Yes, or they mix it with their water, helps their digestive system so that they can have a good poop in the morning. And
Good for them.
yeah, I've heard lots of different strange things, but that just when one thing when you start getting more obsessed with one thing, your other obsession tends to go by the wayside. And I still like playing games and taking a break from all that, but at the same time, I just don't have the same attention span for them that I used to. They're great for just vacation and games and, actually being games rather than being something I want to blog about or podcast about all the time.
Right. So my wife got me a Fitbit, which is, if you're not familiar with that, is kind of a wearable piece of technology.
I've had every version of the Fitbit possible.
But you can be my friend. I'm still on Fitbit.
So yeah, that leads right into my question was, do you kind of incorporate gaming or badges or rewards or anything like this to help you motivate yourself?
Oh yeah. No, that was actually Goldenstar's first thing. She got me a body media band, which actually I'm using again. And
because he keeps breaking his Fitbits.
Yeah, and this one's strapped to my arm, so I always know where it is. So, but yeah, I totally gamify it.
One of his Fitbits.
Yeah, I ran over it in the car. Yeah, fell out of my pocket and ran it over. So, but yeah, no, I love seeing that the steps climb up during the day, or my calories increasing on my FitnessPal. It's kind of like leveling up and stuff like that. I totally gamify fitness. Actually, one of my main lifting programs that I base my lifting off of is 531, which is always trying to make increase your max for lifts, which are bench press, military press, squat, and deadlift. And that's one of the things that keeps me going, is to see if I can do better and how much better I can do, and just to get that extra 5 pounds on my 1 rep max. And that's one of the things that just keeps me going.
Do you compete with others?
No, I compete with myself because others would kill me.
Join like fitness challenges and weight loss.
Oh yeah,
challenges.
Fitness and wellness, or body transformation challenges, wellness challenges, things like that. Those definitely keep me going, and I like them quite a bit. But as far as like weightlifting and stuff like that, no, I don't. I don't compete with anybody. I listen to Iron Radio, and they've got a Facebook page, and everybody's the main mentality is you just compete against yourself, and that's what I like about it. I might go to a meet sometime in the future when I feel more confident about it, but I don't expect to win. I just want to do it so I can compete against myself again. But yeah, no, I did Fitbit. I was part of some Fitbit groups and family and stuff like that, and that got a little obsessive, so I don't try to compete as far as fitness goes.
You don't want to be his friend, because like I have like a max of, I don't know, maybe 7,000 steps a day. He's got like 33,000 steps a day.
Yeah, I got pretty obsessive for a while.
To be like, you know what? I don't even want to be your friend, dude, because you just make me look bad.
Yeah, I've actually toned that down. Now I get an average of like 12 a day, 12,000. I actually brought that down to more intensity rather than quantity, and that was something I had to learn. Because I would go walking for like an hour and a half. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, that's just a different type of gaming then, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So now I go for the short dungeons rather than the long epic raids.
Right. So we've kind of already touched on this a little bit. It sounds like your gaming playstyle has changed quite a bit since CSTM's focus got altered.
Yeah, I think it's definitely lessened, and our attention is I hate saying that we're more mobile centric and more, but we really are, because that's what we have time for, something that we can jump in and jump out of. Although I will say,
in my pocket.
It's in my pocket. Although one of the things I do like about mobile gaming is that now I bought like some of the Final Fantasies, and I can go through those for the first time, because I didn't have a PlayStation when I was growing up, so I didn't get to experience all that fun stuff. So now I can go back and do it. So it makes me happy, and it makes Square Enix happy, because they can make money off of a product that they've already had. They just had to redesign the interface. But no, it's definitely changed a bit. That's not to say that we don't like gaming and we don't like the idea of it. We just, I don't know, the time to do it. Like I've downloaded Path of Exile. I've never played it yet, and it's free to play.
Let's see what I got on my iPad right now. I've got Plants vs. Zombies. I've got Udder. I've got Diner Dash. Supermarket Mania 2, which is amazing, by the way. The Room 2, Little Inferno, Tiny Thief, The Cave, and Balloons. Monkeys popping balloons. Best game ever.
I may have to look into that balloons thing now.
The balloons is actually a lot of fun. If you like tower defense, it's really good.
Okay.
The monkeys are your towers, and the balloons are the enemies.
That, I think, other than this, Kingdom Rush and Kingdom Frontiers were probably my favorite tower defense.
Those into those way more than I did. I thought they were cute and fun, but you were like obsessed.
Yeah, I beat every single one of them and multiple times. And then, yeah, I was looking for something very similar that was a lot of fun, and people on Reddit suggested if you liked tower defense or if you like those games, you'd like Balloons. And Balloons is a ton of fun. I definitely.
And it's adorable.
It is adorable. It's very cute, but it's also can be pretty difficult too.
I haven't beat a hard mode yet. You probably have.
No, I haven't. I've come close, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, I'm not that good, but.
So are you guys able to incorporate gaming into your family time? Because I know you said you scaled back in order to spend more time with family. One of the things I do, just for example, is with Lord of the Rings Online, my two oldest boys are now old enough to play that game and understand it. And so what we do is we do a kind of a vidcast called the Brax Clan. And
that's cool.
What it is it's me and one of my sons playing through a piece of content for about 30 minutes, and then I put it on YouTube, and they just think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
We do play sometimes with her. She's got her own iPad with all kinds of princess games on it, which don't really interest me much, but she likes them quite a bit. But she likes to sit like on your lap while you're playing an MMO and directs you to like make your horse jump.
Yeah.
Or in Mordor, she likes me to color my horse a certain way. She on Merric's account, they made a character on Rift.
Yeah, she's got a mage. Yeah.
Yes, that we've she's not playing it by herself. She's playing it on Daddy's lap with Mommy grouped with her and telling everybody else, "Get away!"
I think she's
Don't talk to us!
I've got tells filtered out on hers.
She can't even read, and we're freaking out. But yeah, so she'll do stuff like that, and she likes it. Like during the Christmas festival in Rift, she loved that we could turn into reindeers, but then was super disappointed that we could not fly. She was like, "What is this crap?"
Yeah, that doesn't seem right at all, does it?
Right. So we do stuff like that. We have, like I said, we've totally like gamified even our TV, and so we love to like when I was playing Little Inferno, I would mirror that to the TV with the Apple TV.
Oh yeah, she loved Little Inferno.
She'll watch it on the TV and then like be like, oh, because in that game there was all kinds of things you could unlock if you burnt things in a certain order or if you burnt certain things together. And so she's like, try this and try that. And she would just be watching on the TV. And what else did we play together that she, on the TV that we loved? Costume Quest.
Oh, yeah, she loved Costume Quest.
She loved watching us play Costume Quest on the TV, and she would instruct us to do stuff. And you'd go trick-or-treat at the door, and she'd close her eyes in case it was a goblin. And if it wasn't, she'd be like, yeah, candy!
She also likes playing Justice League.
Well, she likes beating you up. She doesn't like losing.
Gods Among Us with me. She doesn't like losing, but Injustice, Gods Among Us, she plays with me. Yeah, but she loves the female character. She loves Killer Frost. She always loves the bad guys for some reason.
I don't know. We just watched the second Thor movie, and I have to say that I am Team Loki. So she gets that from her mama. But, so she likes that kind of stuff. But like that, she's just mashing buttons and telling Daddy to stand still so she can beat him.
Yeah.
And if Daddy accidentally wins, she gets very upset.
She's gotten better, but yeah, she's not a real fan.
She's not a fan of that. The Harry Potter Connect game.
Oh yeah, she did really well in that.
She loved that. We do little things like that, but it's always together. It's never like, go play with your Barbies so Mommy can play her game.
One thing that's really interesting is that she does love board games, and we've been trying to play board games with her more. We've played Labyrinth,
Enchanted Forest.
We played Munchkin with her. I've got
sorta, kinda.
Yeah, I mean, you have to bend the rules and kind of make allowances that she's 4.
I can't read.
Yeah, I can't read.
That's a big reading game.
And that you kind of play together instead of playing against each other sometimes. And then it's just fun.
Scooby-Doo Clue,
she loves.
We love that one. She'll pick out the winning cards, and so she knows the answer.
And then she tells you what to guess.
And she'll be like, it's Scooby.
So, yeah, I mean, she's and then I've actually got a card game that I've got through Kickstarter coming that's aimed towards younger kids. I'm hoping. They had a lot of printer issues, and so it's supposed to be coming at the latter after her birthday. I was hoping to get it by her birthday, but I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes and possibly promoting that if it's any good.
That's cool. Yeah. We're other activities with Baby Hobbit. She's huge into makeup.
Oh, she is. Oh, she is. She loves makeup.
We love watching YouTube videos about makeup tutorials, like how to put on makeup. She will be fascinated. She knows the people's names. She's like, is this Jen?
Wow.
Yeah. I'd be like, yeah, this is Jen. Well, I like it when she'd use the Naked 3 palette.
Yeah, she loves expensive makeup, too.
She likes expensive. Like, Josh bought me a nice set of makeup for Christmas, and she was like, did you get me one, Daddy?
No, but I got her one for Valentine's Day, because I spoil my little girl.
Yeah, so, I mean, not everything's game time, but we're spending a lot of time with her, which is probably the best.
Exactly. And it sounds like she's well on her way between the video games you mentioned and all the board games. I know my family is into board games as well. Actually, my kids like board games a lot more than I do. And but when it's with them, it's fun. I still have a good time playing because it's family time.
I'm not sure we'll ever play Shogun or Risk, but I would like to think that we could play that with her sometime. And hopefully I won't throw a fit when I lose, because I always lose those games. I get so mad.
I don't think I'd be very good at those games either.
I'll tell you what we're starting to get into now with the older kids is like Stratego and
nice.
Settlers of Catan and those games. They're old enough now, and my oldest is 12, so you don't have too far to go. My other boy is 10, so they're actually beating me most of the time in those games too. So
nice. I think when it's your kid, hopefully I will find that I am more tolerant of losing than I was when I was younger.
Oh, it's absolutely, because I'll tell you what happens is you look at them and you go, I'm really glad that you've gotten to this point. I'm happy for you, because it's the progress that you've seen over a lifetime.
Nice. And I think that's where our gaming will eventually evolve, is something that involves her more.
Yeah, and if she wants to play an MMO and is old enough.
30.
Right. Or at least we can put enough parental filters on it, I guess.
I think you'd be surprised. You probably even run into this already. There are a lot of kids games that have MMO qualities that aren't probably strictly MMO. Like I would say Animal Crossing is very sandbox MMO-ish. There's another one that my kids play, the one where you have to go buy the toy and you put it on the stand and then you can play that character.
Like the Skylanders?
Oh, Skylanders or Disney
Yep.
Infinity. We're interested in those, actually.
It's very cool, but there are a lot of MMO aspects, and I didn't really get that until I started playing MMOs myself a few years ago, and then I started to recognize these similar characteristics between all these games that my kids were playing and what I was doing.
Nice. Well, I'll have to...
I think she might be a little young for it, but...
Yeah.
Mostly we just want to collect the Disney characters.
Right.
Yeah. Like, the Frozen ones we'll probably
Oh, she's
try.
huge into Frozen right now.
Yeah. We may check those out. See if there's any characters, right, that would make us buy Disney Infinity, it would probably be Frozen.
So this one's a little bit more along the lines of what the future of gaming in MMOs specifically, but even other games is going to be as the player base ages into this life stage where they're busier and need to spend more time with family and kids and extended family. I guess the way I'd like to pose this question is, with the supposed aging player base in MMOs that we always hear about, do you think that a more casual play style demanded by busy gamers is influencing the games themselves, like making them easier, more accessible, easier to get into, easier to level and get to the end game stuff?
I don't know. I think that the fact that Lotro is not designing raids this year or dungeons this year, well, that we know of, is kind of a big indication that maybe that's not where the future is, and maybe it is more accessible and stuff like that, where you can take it up and put it down. I think MMOs are in an interesting space right now because I don't know if people are tired of it or if that's not what the current, if people who used to raid just don't have time for it anymore, and those that are coming into the games aren't as interested in it as the previous, or if we're just getting more used to mobile apps, or
I think that's a big key though, is I like the idea of being able to jump in and get involved, because one of the big barriers for MMOs is they are complex, or at least they feel complex, especially if you're brand new to MMOs. You jump in and there's this entire world and I can just do whatever. And, like my first MMO was EverQuest, and it was years that I learned some rules to that game. Years where, like, my brother would come and see me doing something. He's like, "Why are you doing that? Like, what is wrong with you?" And I just didn't know any better, It's the gaming world is typically huge, expansive, but that brings some complexity with it, which is, not appealing usually.
And everybody does things a little bit their own way, and you never know what is, it's not like it's universal. I mean, the only thing that's universal is like WSAD for direction, the way you walk.
But if you're a new gamer, you don't even know that.
Right.
So I think that making it more accessible and more easy to jump in, is definitely key. We are used to, pressing a button and my app loads now. Like, I touch my screen and everything loads up for me now. I don't need a whole rigmarole of a whole complex system to enjoy my game, kind of a thing. So I think that's really important. I don't know if, like, excluding rating, there's because the aging gaming, it depends on where you are. Like, am I considered an aged gamer?
Yes.
Thanks, honey.
You're welcome, but
You're
you
older
are.
than me.
Okay.
But let me finish. Like, I'm only in my mid-30s. So, yeah, I've got kid stuff that I have to do and school that I have to shuttle my my kid to, and I work a full-time job, and we have activities, and we're going to this Lego building event on Saturday, and all this stuff my life is super busy right now. So yeah, rating to me is off the table. It's not even an option. But someone, slightly older to the next bracket of aged gamers, like my mom, she used to play EverQuest. She doesn't play any games right now, but she has all day to play this stuff.
That's true.
She could just raid or play games all day, literally, if she wanted to. She doesn't, but she could. So I think it depends on, where is the MMOs focusing? Like, what are they targeting a group? Or are they just trying to be as broad as possible and saying, hey, everybody, come play our game and just enjoy the wide variety of things that we have, a little here, a little scattered here, a little scattered there.
Yeah, I prefer to, I guess, think of it as more of a life stage than an age, because I think there's folks that are in the same life stage as me that aren't necessarily the same age range, who have kids and who are busy with them. One last question for you guys, and once again, I appreciate you coming on the show. This is one that I think you probably have right on the tip of your brain. What do you miss most about your involvement with casual Stroll to Mordor as it used to be?
Community.
And did we want to expand on that?
Yeah,
and that's what I thought you were going to say.
interacting with people and
we had a really great community.
Yeah,
not that we don't have a good, but we, when we were in our heyday and we had all these people, participating in the podcast, like we'd start the live feed and there'd be a bunch of people waiting in the chat room. That was exciting and it was fun and it was great to see them all the time, and all the comments and the emails that we would get and everything. It really brought such a fulfillment to what we were doing.
Yeah, it was really nice having that interaction. We missed that.
Well, thanks again for being on. I really had a fun time with the discussion, and I think that the listeners will really enjoy hearing from you again.
Well, thank you for having us.
They're all like, Goldenstar, who?
Goldenstar's hot.
No, they are not saying that.
Merric's hot.
Merric's hot. Did you see him in his Doctor Who scarf?
Sexy.
It was literally very warm that day.
It was very warm.
It was very hot.
I got some feedback from my last episode, which was about girls and gaming. If you hadn't listened to that, you can still check it out. This feedback comes from Randolph, and he said, I enjoyed the discussion this week as well. I tend to play male characters myself. Somehow that just feels more comfortable to me, and I hope that I've conducted myself in such a way as to not fit into any of the negative stereotypes out there. So thanks again for your email, Randolph. And if you'd like to send me some feedback, you can do that at braxwolf@gmail.com, and I'll read it on the podcast. This is a reminder that Beyond Boss Fights is on iTunes, and I would appreciate any ratings or reviews that you'd like to give. Another piece of news real quick. As of this episode, Beyond Boss Fights is also on Stitcher. So go ahead and add that to your playlists out there. And I think they have a feedback mechanism as well. I'd appreciate any kind of ratings or feedback you'd like to give, whether it be on iTunes, Stitcher, or email. So for contact information, if you would like to follow American Goldenstar, I think it's mostly Goldenstar, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as Goldenstar.
Yeah.
That Twitter address is @Stroll2Mordor, STROLLTOMORDOR. And the website is Casually Strolling Through MMOs, CSTM.mymiddleearth.com. Anything else that you guys would like to put out there for contact information?
No, I think that covers it. That covers it.
We're really active still on the social media stuff. I post on there pretty much daily, whereas the blog is like, oh yeah, I should go post something. So,
I've been saying that for the last year.
Right? So if you follow us on like Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Google+. That's where you're going to get the most interaction with us. And I post to the blog when I remember.
And as for myself, on Twitter, I am Braxwolf, Braxwolf. You can email me again at braxwolf@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook and YouTube. You can probably search and find those. And my blog is braxwolf.wordpress.com. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and I hope that you have a pleasant day.